All right. Well, here we go. Another Indiana Jones movie. It's The Last Crusade versus Saving Private Ryan.
Oh, this is a tough lineup. When I saw this one on the brackets, I was like, man, in the first round, we got to do this.
Hey, that's how the seeds work, man.
This one's rough.
I'm just following it. You know what? I agree too. I mean, quite frankly, I would have preferred to have one of the Indiana Joneses against each other.
Yeah.
So they're not all in the end, but this is how the numbers work themselves out. So
yeah, I don't even know where I'm going to vote on this one. So this will depend on the conversation we have.
Okay. All right. Fair enough.
Because Last Crusade you could make the argument that it's the best Indiana Jones movie. I don't know. I'm not 100% sure where I would land on that, but I might. It's a great movie. It's like so much fun. It's Sean Connery and Harrison Ford together, and we could go on, but it's just so great. Saving Private Ryan is arguably one of the best war movies ever made. And it's just it's a very powerful movie. It's an amazing film. I almost feel like an obligation to vote for that reason, but so I don't know. This is a tough one for me. I don't know. I got to hear where you guys are at.
All right, Sean.
Well, again, I am biased because obviously huge Indiana Jones fan. Last Crusade was my favorite movie as a kid, and I think that's what you were trying to get to, Andrew. Like,
yeah.
I think with Last Crusade, where I think technically, probably Raiders is the best film.
Yeah.
But I think Last Crusade is a lot of people's favorites.
Right.
It's just the most enjoyable. I think it's the most fun. It just hits the balances right.
Yeah.
Everything kicks off. We know the character. We're already invested in him. The Nazis are just super nuts. The Nazis are good in it. Like, Hitler's even in it. And like, talk about like Hitler's in the movie and it doesn't even like
register.
Mm-hmm. You're like, screw him. Like, I want him to screw over these other Nazis more than I care about.
That's right.
Anything
you could have just stabbed him in the throat and taken Germany down, and that would have been it.
Yeah. It almost would have been funnier if there'd have been a scene where the choice between, like, do I punch Hitler or do I punch Elsa? Well, I'm going to punch Elsa.
Well, we know how most trailer parks would vote.
Yeah, it's great. A great movie. Like I said, Sean Connery it's probably one of his best acting performances.
Yes, absolutely agreed.
Character-wise, he very rarely plays characters that are actually characters. Like, he's given characters, but he doesn't always, like Highlander. That's a character. He just does Sean Connery. Like,
it's what's his face? I'm trying to remember the Scottish comedian. He was on the Drew Carey show. I think of his name, but he had the excellent point. It was like about Sean, because they were talking about who the best Bond is, and he was talking about Sean Connery, and then in light of that, basically it applies to all these movie stars. And De Niro was like that forever. Like, once he got past, what was it, The Comedian, the movie? It was like he was the same fucking guy in every movie.
Oh,
it was like
comedy.
King of Comedy, yes, thank you. He was the same guy in every movie. You're a movie star now. It's like, and so like his joke was like, "Hello, I'm Sean Connery. I'm an Irish flatfoot in Chicago. You can kiss my ass. Hello, I'm Sean Connery. I'm a Spanish metallurgist from Spain and an Egyptian prince. You can kiss my ass. And hello, I'm a Russian submarine captain, and you can go fuck off." And it's just like, he was the same guy in all of those movies, and then out comes The Last Crusade, and you're like, who is this guy? Like, he could be vulnerable.
Robin Hood is my favorite Sean Connery what the fuck moment, where he turns up in Prince of Thieves at the end. He's like, "Yes, I'm King Richard the Lionheart of England."
That's right. Are you really? Are you really?
He's like, "And I'm Sir Robin of Locksley, England's greatest hero." It's like, it's so confused, that movie.
That is one of my favorite lines with Carrie Hughes in Robin Hood Men in Tights, when he just stops and he's all indignant and he's like, "I, unlike other Robin Hoods, can speak with a British accent. He just like raised his eyebrow. And the movie literally came out like a year after like Prince of Thieves. It was just perfect. But yeah, I'm right along with you guys. Saving Private Ryan, this was my first time seeing it. The first 15 minutes was almost too much. Like the landing. And again, it's like, I get it. The mood that was set was just like, holy. It's actually one of the things that I love about Harrison Ford and the way he acts. When he's the hero, right, in these things, he can portray that working man thing better than anybody. Whereas like, oh shit, I really don't want to do this. I really don't want to do this. I'd much rather go home and just have a beer, but there's no one else that can do this. And I guess I have to do this. So I'm going to do this. And I'm really not happy about this. And just goes ahead and does it, you know? And it's like, this was basically what D-Day was about. It's like, yeah, we're getting blown up, but guess what? We can't swim back. We got to fucking go forward. We got to do this thing here. And so, like I said, like with the blown arms and the guy just like picking up his arm and shock and all of this, like the mood. And then finally, like Tom Hanks, like the tinnitus stops and he's like, all right, we got to get our shit together. And it's like, you go there, you go there. And the mood there was really, really built. And again, story-wise, just find this kid. That's it. It was a simple thing. And everything was just like character-driven.
Yeah.
And it was, like I said, it was like Lincoln. Lincoln, everything was character-driven. There really wasn't much story. And it was really great. But Lincoln was super boring. Whereas, you know, Saving Private Ryan was like, it accurately depicted war, because everybody that you talk to, you know, and I talk to older relatives and whatever, war is a bunch of sitting around and then a bunch of screaming and shitting yourself.
Yeah.
And then that's what it is. It's like you're doing nothing, you're doing nothing, you're doing nothing, and then for 20 minutes you're screaming, cursing, crying, pissing, shitting, and if you make it through, then you take a breath and you're collecting yourself and doing it again. And the way he portrayed that in Saving Private Ryan was really, really good. Like I said, the characters, all the different characters were great. And Henry Thomas, wasn't that Henry Thomas, or am I mistaken? The little kid from E.T. Wasn't he the guy that he picked up along the way who spoke French and German?
Oh, I've watched it. I haven't watched. This is one of the only ones I didn't rewatch right before we did this. I saw it a couple years ago, but
I'm gonna look that up. I'm gonna look that up while you guys vote. I'm gonna look that up to see if he was in Saving Private Ryan.
Did you guys see 1917 yet?
Yeah, I saw it.
I haven't.
I mean, I thought that, again, bias, British versus American. Like, one of the reasons Saving Private Ryan is a little, like, not as good as it could be to me is just, it's very American. It's very, and then America turns up and saves the day.
Where do you didn't really get into it. Where do you land with Saving Private Ryan, Sean?
I think it's great. I think it's, I think the first 20 minutes is incredible. I think it's a great set piece, but I think after that it loses me. After that, it gets a bit too American. It gets a little too, but we gotta go and we gotta save this kid, and that's all we're gonna do, and we're just gonna. It just gets a little too. I don't really believe it. Like, so much. Like, I love war movies. I love, like, Apocalypse Now, Platoon. The more futile, the better. For me, if they're gonna go spend all this time going after the kid, they don't find the kid. Or, like, it shouldn't end. Like, it's a little too. I don't know. I just feel like it's a little.
Only one fucking guy survived, though, so I think that's pretty fucking big.
I guess.
It's only that kid. That's the only one that did survive.
I know.
That kid that they went to save.
It's just, I don't know.
No, the one guy who's bitching all the time, he survived. The guy from Brooklyn.
Oh, did he? Okay. Yeah.
1970. The reason 1917 is I thought it did a very good job of reenacting, you know, the idea of the set piece is so crazy, but also just the youth of war. I think that's what it was. Saving Private Ryan to me is, I think of middle-aged men fighting a war.
Right.
Whereas one thing that 1917 did excellently, which most war movies don't do, ever since Humphrey Bogart and John Wayne used to.
Dunkirk and 1917 are the only two that did it.
They're like, most wars are fought by kids.
Yeah.
Young people that have no idea even how to be people, let alone how to be soldiers, how to kill another person. The majority of faces are young, teenage-looking faces that make you go, wait, they're not old enough to be doing this, because most of them lied about their age to get in anyway.
Yeah.
14, 15-year-olds fighting in these wars, you know? And it did that very well. That innocence of just, to a certain degree, like, But no, it is a great movie. I just think there are better, for my money, they're better. Black Hawk Down came, a handful of years afterwards. I like I don't know. There's more. I feel like I prefer Black Hawk Down for some reason. But yeah, and I love the other movie. I love the more bleak kind of, like I said, Platoon, Apocalypse Now, like Full Metal Jacket. I love Full Metal Jacket.
Tropic Thunder.
Tropic Thunder. I just think all the auteur directors have their war movies, with the exception of like Scorsese, never really did it. But everyone's kind of given it a crack,
right?
And I think for whether it's Kubrick with Full Metal Jacket, or like I said, Ridley Scott doing Black Hawk Down, or Francis Ford Coppola, or whatever. I just think for all the people who, I think it's the one that I think Schindler's List is a better war movie. It's a different kind of war movie, but I think that's Spielberg's, like, okay, we can draw a line under World War II. Like, this is the World War. This is like, maybe it's
well, I mean, there's nothing I'm disagreeing with you guys on this. I think Saving Private Ryan was a great movie, and again, coming back to my point, he's a great mood builder, and the character work again was great because it shows what happens to people in these things. You're so terrified all the time. Sometimes you're just like, fuck this kid. Why are we going? We already lost 2 guys. Why are we going? The fact that they were ready to shoot each other in the head for disobeying the captain and all that. All of that stuff is like that, the mood was really well set. Have there been better war movies? I suppose. But, I mean, in this context, is going up against The Last Crusade. And again, I think The Last Crusade was the best of the indie movies. Like you said, I think technically Raiders of the Lost Ark, and we'll talk about this because it's on the list, it was kind of a genre-defining kind of movie. Like, they've tried to copy it. The closest they got was The Mummy.
Right.
The first Mummy and the second Mummy to a point.
I don't keep Romancing the Stone. I was a big fan of that movie.
Romancing the Stone, but it was a very different. Romancing the Stone was like if you took Indiana Jones and made it mostly comedy. That was Romancing the Stone.
But to your point, Tomo, ever since then, movies have been made, and if it's that type of movie in any way, shape, or form, the way you describe it is like, oh, it's kind of like an Indiana Jonesy type, like that has become almost its own genre.
Right. Yeah. I mean, it's funny. The Quatermain movies with Richard Chamberlain, I think, came out before Raiders, or right around the same time. They were trying to, but they all ended up being like B movies that went straight to video or to TV or whatever. And it was like Richard Chamberlain and Sharon Stone, believe it or not, I think were in those movies. Alan Quatermain and King Solomon's Mines, or something like that it was called. But, I mean, again, back to this, in this contest, I'm voting for The Last Crusade over Saving Private Ryan. Again, not meaning, like, to Andrew's point, this doesn't make Saving Private Ryan a bad movie. I just think The Last Crusade was a more entertaining and a better movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think Apocalypse Now is a better war movie, and Harrison Ford was in that movie. So, already. And Sean Connery's probably in a good war. I don't know. He's probably in a good war movie from the old day. I don't know.
Yeah, Highlander. Come on, that was a war movie.
Yeah.
All right. So The Last Crusade goes on. All right, and now we have Sean's favorite of all time, because he gets to dress up as a pirate and sing. Hook versus number 14. Hook versus Jurassic Park, number 3.
Do we need to talk?
Number 3, Jurassic Park. Again. This was Hook was just a stupid ass boring movie. No story.
Hook was so bad.
Terrible. Like E.T. It was right there.
Don't shit on E.T. Don't even put Hook in the same category.
Same category, except Hook had Robin fucking Williams. That's it.
in one of his worst.
Dustin Hoffman.
Oh, and Glenn Close.
All
And
terrible.
Bob Hoskins. And Julia Roberts. And
oh God, I forgot about that. And what's her face? Dame
Maggie
Professor
Smith.
McGonagall. Maggie
Yeah.
Smith. That's right. Hook, right up there with E.T.
I saw Hook. So Hook, I had seen Hook a few times probably when I was a kid, like on TV and stuff like that. But I never like got super into it, but I had seen it and probably liked it as a kid. And I can remember other people, like when I was in college and things like that, like people my age that around my age grew up with it, because it came out in 91. Something like that.
91. Yep, 91.
So in my childhood, the year I was born is when that came out. And anyways, I can remember other people. Look at that face. Don't even.
I gotta get another beer. Go ahead, Tom.
But I can remember people. A lot of people are big fans of this movie, like strictly, I think, because of nostalgia. So having not seen it since I was maybe less than 5, probably at best, I went into it with a pretty, it took a grain of salt. I went into it with. Not with high hopes, not like I was expecting to be blown away or anything special. But I expected it to be better than it was. And watching it back now, I mean, and it's long. It's over 2 hours long. Like it's 2.5 hours or something. And it's a kid's movie. That is long for a kid. And it was long for me to sit through.
It's just about every Spielberg movie is 2 hours.
Yeah.
Like every one, and I think it's ever since
Hook was
Jaws.
almost 2.5, wasn't it? Or am I?
Hook might have been 2:15 or something like that.
It was.
But yeah, I mean,
long.
it's amazing what nostalgia will do and make you think of shit movies like the best movie ever made. Like things like E.T. and shit like that. So,
Well, I did rewatch E.T. And I stand by my. Hook is 2 hours and 22 minutes.
Jesus, yes, that's
That
right.
is way too long.
Boring. Of absolutely terrible.
Oh, and while we're shitting on Hook, shout out to one of my best friends, Anthony Colon, who filled out the brackets for us.
I don't
know.
Thank you, Anthony.
I don't know if I can go through this now or not, but I don't know if we'll revisit it later. But Anthony's brackets, love you, Anthony, but his number 1 film was Hook.
What?
I'm not kidding. Shout out to Anthony.
Don't shout out that shit. No, Anthony, I appreciate the effort, but don't shout out that shit. Hook look, E.T. when it came out was widely panned by the critics. Like everyone shit on that movie.
Really?
Look it up. It was absolutely like defiled. And it's because adults watched it, but like from a kid's perspective, this is a great movie. If I was a kid, I would have loved that movie. And nostalgia would have probably made me think that it was a much better movie than it is. But anyway, we're talking Jurassic Park versus Hook. Hook is shit, and it was just 2+ hours of just absolute garbage.
No,
Especially,
Peter. No,
Peter.
Peter.
My favorite part, although I have to say there were so many comical parts. First of all, Dustin Hoffman was loving being like a drag queen captain.
A suicidal
drag queen captain. Like, I'm going to kill myself. Hurry up. Bob Hoskins, if you ask me, was the best part of that movie. And he should have been in it a lot more. But my favorite part of the movie is Hook kills, what was the kid who was in charge of the Lost Boys while Peter was gone?
Rufio.
Thank you. Rufio. So Sean is probably Hook is his number 1 movie too, since he remembers the character's name. Rufio gets stabbed through the stomach like a freaking pig on Thanksgiving by Hook. And literally 3 minutes later, the alligator falls on Hook, and the kids go like skipping along. It's like, what the hell happened with Rufio? Aren't we going to even bury the guy? What the? He was forgotten like he was never even there. And I was just like, and I mean, it was just prototypical of all of these like Spielberg story bits. It's like, don't worry about it. They already bought the ticket. It's fine. Don't worry about it. So Jurassic Park, I actually rewatched it yesterday. I haven't seen it in a long time. And I remember Jurassic Park was one of the very few movies that I went to the theater to see twice because I thought it was just that good. Because I thought the dinosaur CGI was really, really something back then. Because this was what, 93?
Yeah.
And again, the mood building was fantastic. I actually read the book, Michael Crichton's book, Jurassic Park, years after I saw the movie. And I was like so grateful that I read the book after I saw the movie, because they changed the book so much around that I would have hated the movie if I read the book first.
Really?
They did so much. Like in the book, the girl, the sister is younger, and she's just annoying and in the way, whereas the brother's into dinosaurs and computers. And but just besides that, that was just like one of the little things. And actually, the main character that was played by Sam Neill, he loves kids because they can remember the names of dinosaurs better than adults can.
Oh.
So he thinks kids are just wonderful in the books, whereas in the movie they made him just like he was an asshole, you know. So it was just, but either way, I just thought that movie was great. And again, the mood building, just the constant fear of what's around the corner, you know, Sam Jackson's arm. I mean, I mean, even if there was a stronger movie here and not just the garbage fire that was Hook, I think Jurassic Park
would have to go on. Yeah. I rewatched it not long ago, maybe a week ago or so. And it is, in a lot of ways, I feel like Jurassic Park ticks all of the boxes of like Spielberg. Like you have kind of like a horror element that he sort of established when he did Jaws, but you have sort of that like, almost like a magical element, like something awe-inspiring and unreal. And then you have these kid actors who are actually really good at acting, even though they're kids. Like you have everything you want in a Spielberg movie in that. 1993. And some of the visuals in it look better than some of the shit we see today.
Absolutely.
The blend of, and you can tell if you're really paying attention where they used some CGI and where it was practical effects, but the way they blended them, and like certain shots they used the practical, and then in other ones they used the CGI. And there are a lot of scenes where they cut between the two. Like one shot is practical, they cut someone else, they cut back, now it's CGI. The blend is done so well.
It's technically it was a fantastic movie.
Unbelievable. So yeah, it's just an amazing movie, and the fact that it stands up, how many years later now? Almost 30 years. Is amazing.
Yep. Yeah. So I say Jurassic Park, Sean.
Yeah, no, it is Jurassic Park. I love Hook. I loved Hook as a kid. Fucking love Hook. Great movie. But Jurassic Park. Jurassic Park was the first movie I remember going to see in the movie theater. For a long time, I said the first movie I ever saw in the movie theater, but that can't be right because I had to have gone to see some Disney movie or something. But it was the first one I remember, like queuing up around the block and going and seeing, and it's incredible. I love that movie. So many star turning, like Richard Attenborough, like that's his most famous. Richard Attenborough is like a legend, but to put into perspective of how much of a legend he is, the drama school I went to in England, he was the president of for a long time. He went there during the war. Actually, there was this crazy picture of him by the reception desk at the drama school where his year was there during the Blitz, and it was them the last years. And they were supposed to be rehearsing for their production of Hamlet or whatever, and they were on the roof sweeping the debris from the bombing of the night before.
Wow.
That is cool. And he ended up being the president, long-term president of the drama school. Then Alan Rickman was the principal. He was the principal, and Alan Rickman was the vice principal, which is cool. But he, to the point where, like, you know, big legendary actor in England, all this amazing stuff. But whenever we heard that Dickie, as he used to go by, anyone in the building used to call him Dickie. Everyone used to know that Dickie was in the building. Me and my friends would actively be poking our heads around corners, going dun 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 dun, hoping that we would pop into him and do that. Never worked.
No.
Like that's all that mattered to us. Like he legendary for him. Jeff Goldblum, like he's incredible in
Great.
that. Laura Dern
was great.
You know, superstar she is now. You know, Sam Neill. It's just so. Everyone is so good in that movie.
Yeah.
It's just incredible, and it defined dinosaurs for a whole generation.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So many people, when you think of dinosaurs, you think of those. If you say Velociraptor, people think that kitchen. If you say T-Rex, they think of it going after the car. Like
Yeah. I mean, it's funny. Before all the coronavirus stuff happened, I was looking at the Oscars and I was thinking about the Oscars when they're giving out all the awards, and I was thinking basically, you know, every award there's kind of a tangible that you can see and verify, except for directing. It's one of the biggest awards. I was like, well, was it a good director or was it just a great actor? You know, was it a great cinematographer? You know, it's like
right. It was a great editing.
You know, was he just kind of like sitting around and just said action and, you know, everyone else did their bit and then he was like, cut, great, all right, let's go to the next shot. You know, it's kind of like you couldn't. And then I watched Lincoln and I was like, that's good directing. Because like I said, there wasn't a single acting job that was bad. Nothing. No matter how little the character. And Jurassic Park was one of them. Didn't matter how little the character. I mean, B.D. Wong, he was on screen for like 3 seconds. And it was just like, he's perfect in it. Laura Dern was perfect. Like Sammy, like I said, they changed so much from the original book. But everybody, like the kids, to your point, Andrew, like he directs kids marvelously. It's like, it's wonderful. Yeah, Jurassic Park is really, to me, is one of his better, you know, works by far.
Yeah.
So, all right, Jurassic Park goes on then, yeah?
Sure does.
Ooh. So we're going to have The Last Crusade against Jurassic Park.
Oh.
Ooh. All right.
We'll worry about that later.
Yeah.